Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Special Liquor Control Commission for Monday, January 21st, 2019. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Clerk Simpson, please.
Commissioner Kruger? Present. Commissioner Vito?
Here.
Commissioner Papantos? Present. Commissioner Vogel?
Here.
Commissioner Lang?
Here.
Commissioner Brady informed the board he would not be here this evening, and Chairperson Horker.
Here. You have before you the minutes of the special meeting of November 19th, 2018. I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Vogel.
Second.
Second, Trustee Kruger. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker.
Yes. Citizens' concerns, Clerk Simpson. Just as a reminder to the citizens, this is a time for citizens to make their comments and express their concerns and for the Commission to listen. Neither the Commission nor the staff will be answering questions.
Okay. Members of the general public may address the Liquor Control Commission with concerns or comments regarding issues relevant to the Liquor Control Commission's agenda or topics that the Liquor Control Commission has the authority pursuant to the Village Code to address. The chairperson or his or her designee shall strictly restrain comments to matters that are relevant to the Liquor Control Commission's business and shall not permit repetitious comments or arguments. Members of the general public who wish to address the Liquor Control Commission must sign the request to speak form prior to the commencement of the public meeting. The person submitting a petition, concern, or other comment shall be allotted 5 minutes to present their points. Ms. Bestone?
Good evening. I'm Grace Bastone, 767 West Dundee, B&O Liquors and PS Pub. We do currently have a liquor license. In fact, we have a couple of them, and we've had them for over 20 years. My concern is that the village has been allowing some gambling establishments to serve alcohol, even that's only beer and wine or minor drinking things, saying that it's okay for everyone to have alcohol without any control, without anything that I can see as being overseen as a proper kind of a bar. When this, I'm concerning now about the application, I believe it is, for a new liquor room, or not liquor room, a gambling room, a gaming room on the agenda tonight. And I'm thinking that we have a real strict rule as far as bars and restaurants are concerned regarding the alcohol distribution. And I'm afraid that with all of these new gambling places going in, that the control is not there. I mean, you have to have a lot of patience for people that are drinking. You have to have understanding of when they have too much alcohol. You have to have all of these things. And if you have one person in a gaming room and they're serving alcohol, you can't just rely on one person. Most of the gaming rooms around only have one person monitoring the games and the supposed food that's going out. So my main concern is that maybe it's time for the village to consider a top in these gambling rooms and not allow any more. I'm not opposed to restaurants and major bars. We have a lot happening in the village. I've been here a long time, and I'm just upset over what's happening right now. I like everything that's happening with the new town center, which is good. All the new people that are coming in is great. It should help everyone, including us. But as far as the gaming is concerned, this is my main concern. So thank you very much. I had to voice my opinion. Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, Rick Simpson.
New business?
Yes, new business.
Consideration of a request for Class NV liquor license from Callie's Café LLC, DBA Callie's Café.
Mr. Spondilis, what do we have?
Thank you. Kelly's Café has submitted an application for a Class NV liquor license for a proposed video gaming cafe at 30 West Dundee, which is a currently vacant unit in the Wolf Plaza Shopping Center. The establishment will provide table seating for fewer than 30 persons. The establishment also expects to earn more revenue from the sale of food and non-alcoholic beverages than from alcoholic beverages. Should the commission approve the use at this level, it will next go to the board for consideration of an ordinance granting associated special use approval for Kelly's Cafe, as well as an ordinance that would create one additional NV liquor license. There are 6 conditions suggested for approval. I will read those before turning it over to the petitioner. 1, passage of legislation by the Board of Trustees granting special use approval as applicable. 2, passage of an ordinance by the Board of Trustees authorizing the creation of a new Class NV liquor license. 3, submittal of a certificate of insurance indicating liquor liability insurance for the establishment, naming the Village of Wheeling as an additional insured party. 4, submission of a current lease for the premises. 5, payment of all applicable fees, and finally, submittal of Bassett training certificates for all applicable employees. I believe the petitioner is here and can answer any additional questions.
Come up to the podium, please. Commissioner Papp, you're first, then Commissioner Lang.
Hi, good evening. Could you describe what your menu is going to be? Because it's very confusing, and from what I heard from the Plan Commission to what you wrote.
We had a paper that documented it all, but it's obviously going to be, from what people ask or demand, or what will sell the best there. Some place, what? Yeah, well, the pastries, sandwiches. It had on that menu that we supplied you with.
Pardon me?
It had the menu on one of the sheets that we gave them at the last meeting.
I didn't see a menu, I just saw a letter that said desserts, breakfast choices. It was very vague.
Okay, he has one menu that they gave him, but it's obviously going to be more fast food items. So packaged items, sandwiches, and then we go from there to see what the people are asking for.
Thank you. You have no tables.
The bar table and then some seating. Usually,
There's no seating in the drawing you gave us.
yeah, there was some, we supported them. Who'd you give it to?
I gave Steve Robles.
I'm looking at it right now, and there's a counter service, basically,
Yeah, there's a counter with chairs.
with chairs, and that's it. There's no tables, there's no seating. So it's really, from the looks of what you've provided to us, you're looking for a place to provide your 5 gaming machines, and by state law, you have to have a liquor license to do that. And by village code, you have to be able to have, seating for less than 30, but you have seating for 5.
We have seating for 5, obviously for the 5 games, and then there's additional seating in the.
But seating for 5 as far as the food goes. I'm assuming you're not going to serve people food at the gaming machines.
Right, yeah, there's a bar and then there's seating in there, but no, there isn't seating with waitressing and stuff. No, there's seating in there's probably 10, how many seats at the bar? 15 total seats.
I might be looking at the wrong floor plan, but I'm counting 5 seats at the bar. And that's where I'm very confused and I'm concerned.
Yeah, there's a couch in there with a table.
Then we do not have the right floor plan. There is no couch, there is no table. I'm looking at a plan that shows 3 feet 7 inches from the wall to the back of the chairs at the counter. You're not going to be able to get a couch in there and have people move in and out.
I guess it could be written on there, I guess, clearer, but we have other establishments in that same amount of square footage, and then every city, municipality's asking for different seating, and obviously we could do whatever we could fit in the space that's allowed, but if there's a demand to have an extra table, that's not an issue. But I see your point if you want it on that exact floor plan.
I think for permitting, that would be up to staff, but you're going to need it on the exact floor plan. What hours are you planning to operate?
Usually they run in a lot of the municipalities concurrently to the liquor license. So, the liquor license runs till 1 a.m., then it runs.
Do you know what the liquor license calls for in Wheeling?
No.
Okay, I would think that you might want to look it up, because what you proposed and what the law is are two different things.
They close exactly at the same time, the liquor license. That's how they run. Because once if the liquor license runs till 1, then the machine shut off at 1 automatically.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Commissioner Papantos. Commissioner Lang?
Thank you. So, based on the number of seats, and I'll ask this to staff, Andrew, Mr. Jennings, do they meet the code based on the seating requirements? And we relaxed the code on gaming facilities in the past, so do they meet the code?
In terms of, if you're asking about the parking, yes, they are within the allocation to this unit. Previously, in terms of the tavern, if that's what you're referring to, it's a sales-based determination. They're asking for an NV license, which, as Manager Spondilis had mentioned before, they would have to be able to document that they have more of their revenue from the sale of food and non-alcoholic beverages than from alcoholic beverages.
Okay. And then just a question to the board. And I know we've relaxed our guidelines on these establishments. Does anyone feel that, is this what you're looking for still? Is this the product of what you wanted when we relaxed the plans? Have we come to a point of saturation with this yet? I'm asking, because I don't know the answer to that. And I just want to hear some feedback from everyone else. Are we at saturation point, for one, and is this what we were looking for when we relaxed the plans? So,
I would open it up for discussion.
if you don't mind,
Does anybody have something to say? Joe?
Yeah, I mean, we've been back and forth on this a bunch of times. I mean, the reason that I was always for relaxing the plans, well, one, is just a general take that I have on this. We're either going to do it or we're not. I mean, they're either immoral places that should be banned or we should allow them here. The second issue was we'd have all the people coming in, the soup guy, the deli guy, who still neither of them are open, but would come in here and try to beguile us and pretend that they were going to be something other than this, which, was insulting. I'd rather have this come in and say, look, we're a gaming cafe. We have 5 seats, because if you look at Stella's or anywhere else, there's 2 people in there at any given time. I've never seen anyone more than that in any of these establishments. So I think it's a bigger question of the board, and Ray, you're right in bringing it up, is what are we going to do? I mean, do we want these in town? I mean, I thought we voted to say we're going to lift the cap, meaning these can come in town. If we have cold feet on that, then we as a board have to let the people know that we're no longer going to entertain these. But we got to come up with a decision one way or the other. And if it's video gaming cafes, I mean, it's going to be this, it's going to be the soup guy we got to ban. I don't think we can go back to, okay, great, we're going to have this video gaming stuff, but you got to come in and pretend you're not a video gaming cafe, because then we're back to the same spot we were before we lifted the ban. So, I don't know. I'm for these. I don't think they're the scourge on the community that people make them out to be. I understand they do prey on some people, and that could be a problem, but people can make their own choices. And that's kind of where I stand on this. I hate these things. I'm not a fan of them. I don't understand why people like them. I like craps, not these machines. They're not very fun. They're not very social. But, people can do what they want to do with their money, and that's a decision we have to make as a board. I know Terry Stylen had said some stuff about property values and his views on it in general. I just think that's unfounded. I think these are the nicest looking things in a lot of the shopping malls there, even just the basic Stellas and these types of situations. So I don't see them as having a deteriorating effect on property values, but either way, I think as a board, we have to come up with a decision on how we're going to move forward.
Commissioner Vogel?
And I agree with everything Commissioner Vito said, but I do think we've reached the saturation point. There's only so many of these places you can have, okay? And again, I hate to keep going back to the intent of the law. When they put the law in effect, it was to help existing businesses. And I think we're defeating the purpose by now taking away business from the existing businesses and continuing to let these thrive and open up. How many more do we need? Seriously. It's like we used to have a bank on every corner, and they decided we had enough of those, and auto parts stores, and now we're into gaming cafes. So my vote is we've reached the saturation point, and let's cap it.
Commissioner Papantos?
I agree with what Commissioner Vito said. I believe the saturation point's going to be realized by the market. People will either choose to go into your establishment or they won't. I don't think that people who are going to a restaurant or a bar to socialize with their friends and to perhaps drink or party or have dinner and choose to play machines are going to not go to those establishments in lieu of a video gaming cafe. Sorry, your menu looks nice, but I don't think it's going to draw. People aren't going there for dinner. They're going there to play games, and that is it. I mean, that's the reason. When people say nobody's in Stella's, it's because they're at the gaming machines in the back and you can't see them. They're not sitting there eating. So we're not taking away business from the other establishments. I do believe that there will come a point where people just say, no, I don't need any more. I'm not going anymore. You'll either survive or you won't for whatever reason. I don't know what lures people to one establishment versus another, but we will reach a saturation point, but the market will dictate it. And if you're not making money, I'm assuming you will close. I'm pretty sure that you're coming here to make money. And that's basically how I feel about it.
It has grown because I believe, now there's 6,500 locations in the state of Illinois, and they're growing, so they're obviously making money.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Papantos. Commissioner Kruger?
Thank you, Mr. President. Or Chairperson.
Either way.
Pat. I've said this before, and I agree with a lot of what Commissioner Papantos and Commissioner Vito said. I believe the market will determine saturation. I don't think that that's up to us. There are a lot of dry cleaners and nail salons in the area, in town too. I think that what I've said before is that video gaming to me should be about issuing the liquor license and whether or not the establishment meets our criteria for that. I would rather see more upscale establishments as opposed to establishments that are a step up from someone's rec room in their house. You know what I mean? I want it to be an experience. I would like to have seen your presentation materials in my packet. I couldn't tell much from your drawing, but I think that in lieu of loss of sales tax revenue in town and a few restaurants that have closed recently, we as a village should be putting butts in the seats, so to speak, whenever we can. So that's my commentary. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Kruger. Any response, Commissioner Lang?
Yes, thank you all. I appreciate your comments on it. I guess we haven't had any closures yet of any facilities, any gaming facilities, is that correct? So I suppose that answers the question about saturation. I just wanted to, just get an update on how everyone felt. I've felt different about it, and I hadn't known if anyone changed their mind on things or not. So I'll go ahead and agree with the board on this as well. But I appreciate your comments. It helps. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lang. Is there any other comments from the commission? Anything else?
No, sir.
If there are no other comments, I'd be looking for a motion
With the 6 conditions, please.
with the 6 conditions as read earlier.
So moved.
Motion, Commissioner Kruger, second.
Second.
Commissioner Papantos. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
No.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Chairperson Horker?
Yes. Hang around. That does conclude the business for the Liquor Commission for the evening. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Give the motion to the ladies. Hope that's not a bad thing to say nowadays. Commissioner Kruger. Second is by Commissioner Lang.
The man.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I would like to immediately go into the regular board meeting for, wait, I have to wait.
You're going to 6:52.
Are we good?
Okay.
Technology is making everyone's life easier.
Okay.
I'd like to call to order regular meeting for Monday, January 21st. Are we good?
We're good.
2019. We're going to skip the pledge. Roll call, please.
Trustee Kruger?
Present.
Trustee Vito?
Here.
Trustee Papantos?
Present.
Trustee Vogel?
Here.
Trustee Lang?
Here.
Trustee Brady informed the board he would not be here this evening, and President Horker.
Here. You have before you the minutes of the regular meeting of January 7th, 2019. I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee
Second.
Papantos. Second, Trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Horker.
Yes. There are no changes to the agenda.
Correct.
That brings us to proclamations. Clerk Simpson.
Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service, January 21st, 2019. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. devoted his life to advancing equality, social justice, and opportunity for all, and challenged all Americans to participate in the never-ending work of building a more perfect union. Dr. King's teachings can continue to guide and inspire us in addressing challenges in our communities. The King Holiday and Service Act, enacted in 1994, designated the King Holiday as a National Day of Volunteer Service and charged the corporations for national and community services with leading this effort. Since 1994, millions of Americans have been inspired by the life and work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to serve their neighbors and communities on the King Holiday. Serving on the King Holiday is an appropriate way to honor Dr. King, meet local and national needs, bring our citizens together, and strengthen our communities and nation. The King Day of Service offers an opportunity for Americans to give back to their communities on the holiday and make an ongoing commitment to service throughout the year. King Day of Service projects are organized by a wide range of nonprofits, private businesses, and other organizations across the nation. Citizens of Wheeling have an opportunity to participate in events throughout Northern Illinois on the King Day of Service, as well as to create and implement community service projects where they identify the need. Patrick Horker, President of the Village of Wheeling, proclaims the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday as a day of service in Wheeling and call upon the people of Wheeling to pay tribute to the life and works of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. through participation in community service projects on Martin Luther King Day and throughout the year.
Thank you, Clerk Simpson. Citizens' comments and concerns. And just as a reminder, this is a time for citizens to make their comments and express their concerns and for the board to listen. Neither the board nor staff will be answering questions.
Members of the public may address the board with comments regarding only those items that are relevant to village business. No citizen shall speak for more than 5 minutes without consent of the board. Members of the general public who wish to address the board must sign the request to speak form prior to the commencement of the public meeting. Ms. Bastide, are you going to speak? No? Okay. Ms. Wilson? Oh, you're going to come up, Ms. Bastide? Okay. Come on.
Grace Bastone. I'm sorry you don't agree with me as far as opening up the village with more gaming rooms. Maybe we should just call them the right way, Mr. Lang. They are gaming rooms. I just hope that maybe you will realize that there is a saturation point. And I just wanted to remind you all that the original law was for food establishment and bars. This has gone over to the point of being a little bit extreme, especially in our village. We have a lot of gaming rooms in our village, and we're expecting a lot more people. So maybe this is why you're thinking that maybe this is a good thing. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you anyway for listening.
Thank you.
Ms. Wilson?
Well, I've never seen the parking lot at PS Pub anything but packed, so hopefully it will continue that way. Thank you. You're welcome. At the last meeting I spoke at, I expressed concern about the new hire of a second deputy chief that we had not had previously. Village President Horker, or was it Village Manager Svandilis, asked the police chief Dunn to explain that, and he also asked Mr. Mondeshane to confirm what the police chief put forth. And he said that there were a lot of unfunded state mandates that required a second person in the position. I've looked at the communities that surround us. They're all under the same mandates, and none of them have hired a second deputy chief, so I don't think it was plausible. I also went through the minutes going many years back, whenever else they've introduced another managerial level police department person. That person was always on the agenda, and I didn't see that at the last one. Village Manager Svandilis, Chapter 2.21.060 is the local village ordinance that describes your job duties. Number 4 under that ordinance says that it's your job to investigate all complaints in regard to administration, operation, and activities. And I'm concerned that this board approved of large expenditures for a law firm to do that investigation. And I'm just wondering why we're paying him nearly $200,000 a year and we're contracting out his job duties. Even for an internal investigation into the Wheeling Police Department, the morale issue that was going on there in relation to complaints against Todd Wolf. Can anybody answer that question for me, why you didn't require him to perform one of his job duties? Number 1 under that ordinance describing his duties is also to hire, suspend, or remove employees as set forth in the personnel policy manual. And he did not make that decision. A third party, this law firm that you've engaged for many, many years for labor issues, they were the ones that concluded that Todd Wolf's behavior did not rise to the level of violating a personnel policy manual. And I'm wondering why are they, even if you were to make the argument that with over 40 employees being interviewed, it was too much for him to do by himself, why wouldn't you have that person do the interviews and have him make the final decision, review the interview notes, and for him to come to the conclusion of what violated our personnel policy manual? That's what we pay him to do. I think it was a lot of money. I'm concerned that Village Manager Svandilis is uncomfortable with some of his job duties and would prefer to have other people do them for him. So it's sometimes being a boss means you have to be the heavy. And he failed to do that at this time. He was content to let somebody else that is not an employee of our village come to a determination if there were violations of a personnel policy manual that he is supposed to enforce. So I'm disappointed in that, and I would just encourage this board to remember their statutory duty to exercise their authority over the village manager in how he performs his duties or how he refuses to perform his duties, and not to spend more tax dollars to pay other people, contract out what he ought to be doing. So moving forward, I certainly hope that you give that some thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Staff reports. Mr. Svandilis.
Thank you. As we try to do every year, we go through some of the new laws that have been put in place at the state level to just publicize some of the things that affect residents and businesses. This year, although there are over 250 new laws that went into place January 1st, or at least at some point during this month, there are only a few that really are applicable to the general public. We have put up a PDF of those laws just as a reference document for the public. It is on our website, but Chief Dunn, if you would, since they all seem to relate to the police department, if you could just highlight, there are 4 that seem to be the most.
Good evening and thank you. One of the top ones is child and infant car seats in vehicles. It is now required, effective backdating to January 1st, that children under 2 years of age be placed in rear-facing child seats unless they weigh 40 pounds or more or 40 inches or taller. So there's back seat, rear facing. That's a little bit different. And if I can also add, the police department does offer a service to help install car seats. Statistics show that over 40% of child car seats are installed improperly. So we're happy to help out with that. You can call the non-emergency number, make an appointment, we'll help you out with that. This is a 2017 law, but I wanted to bring it to your attention since the state police is making a point of cracking down on it, but that's left lane users on highways, interstates. The state police refer to them as left lane lollygaggers. But if you didn't know it, Illinois law requires people who use the left lane on highways and interstates to use it only for passing and to avoid traffic situations, not to just drive along in the left lane. Beginning July 1st of this year, texting or using a handheld device in your vehicle, that if you were to get stopped for that and receive a ticket, will be then considered a moving violation. No longer like an equipment violation, like a headlight out or something. It would be considered a moving violation, and as you know, or if you may have heard, 3 moving violations in a year and you could have your license suspended. So it'll change. Now, wheeling, the officers still have the discretion of a verbal warning, a written warning, and we have these other local ordinance citations. So there's 4 types of citations you could receive in it. But if you receive a traffic citation for it, it is considered a moving violation. And while citations won't be issued for it, it'll be part of your driver's license tests coming up, and it's called the Dutch Reach, and it has to do with how you exit your vehicle. And as we're becoming more and more bicycle-orientated society and being aware of bicyclists out there, and the idea is that you use your right hand in the driver's seat to reach over to unlock your vehicle, to open your vehicle, so that forces you to look in your rearview mirror and look to the side to make sure that you're not opening the door and clipping a bicyclist or a fast-moving pedestrian. But that'll be part of the driver's test, not something that we'll be enforcing. And I think those are the highlights of the many laws.
Thank you, Chief. Director Janik.
Thank you. I'd like to remind property owners who are watching that the temperatures are going to be dropping. Tomorrow is going to be slightly warmer than it is today, but then it's going to drop precipitously to the end of the week and through the weekend. So please, if your house has exposed pipes near an outside wall, or if those pipes for some reason are in a cold, drafty area, make sure you insulate them. Make sure you keep the door open to that area so that the temperature doesn't drop in that area when it does get very cold. And just in general, be careful with pipes freezing. Some people do allow pipes to run slightly. That works for some people. But just in general, be careful with your pipes over the weekend and into the next week.
Thank you, sir. If there's no other comments, Clerk Simpson, consent agenda?
Consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered after all other agenda items. 11A, resolution authorizing the purchase of replacement fire station alerting systems from U.S. Digital Designs for Fire Station 24 and Fire Station 42 at a cost not to exceed $67,772.76. 11B, resolution accepting a proposal in the amount of $83,400 from AECOM Technical Services for engineering services for the Lee Service Line Replacement Program. 11C, resolution for construction on state highways to make emergency pavement openings to repair broken water main, sewers, or other village-owned facilities. 11D, resolution approving the final plat of subdivision for Wheeling's Milwaukee Avenue Rest subdivision concerning 4.9 acres of South Milwaukee Avenue. D, resolution accepting a proposal from Hager Engineering LLC for engineering services involving the Willow Road reconstruction and intersection improvements in the amount of $52,500. 11F, resolution authorizing change order number 1 to the construction contract with Laurie Construction Company for the Wolf Court Diversionary Channel Crossing and Roadway in the amount of $267,000. 11G, ordinance amending Chapter 4.32 of the Village of Wheeling's Municipal Code, alcoholic liquor dealers, specifically Section 4.32.085, to increase the authorized number of Class NV liquor licenses.
Any concerns or comments? There being none, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Trustee Papantos, second, Trustee Lang. Roll call, please.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. We have no old business. Let's move on to new business.
Ready?
Clerk Simpson.
13A, ordinance granting special use site plan approval for a sit-down restaurant at 30 West Dundee Road, Callie's Café, docket number 2018-31.
Mr. Jennings, what is this?
Thank you, President Horker. The ordinance that's been prepared for your consideration is related to the liquor license that was discussed and approved earlier this evening by the Liquor Control Commission. Just one quick procedural note before I get into the discussion of the Plan Commission recommendation. The Plan Commission minutes and findings that were sent to you related to this item have not yet been approved by the Plan Commission. That's fairly typical for us, given the timing of the meetings. They sometimes have not yet reviewed and approved their own minutes by the time that item comes in front of the board for review. In this case, there is a minor correction to the voting record from that night. There's one yes vote on the recommendation. It was attributed to Commissioner Kalis. It was actually Commissioner Creech. So minor technical correction. It'll be made at this week's Plan Commission meeting on Thursday. As was discussed earlier during the Liquor Control Commission meeting, this is a relatively small sit-down restaurant. For the purposes of the Liquor Control Commission, the request was for a gaming license. For the purpose of the Plan Commission review of the special use, and for this particular ordinance that's in front of you, it is a special use review. hence some of the comments that I made in my review of the Plan Commission's recommendation. Plan Commission recommended by a vote of 1 to 4 to deny the special use. I reviewed the minutes, watched the meeting back. I did not see a rationale set forth in terms of the standards for a special use that would suggest there was a standards-based recommendation mentioned in the discussion and the testimony leading up to it. That's the reason for the recommendation from community development being written the way that it is. I noted that the discretion to issue the license is up to the Liquor Control Commission, and earlier this evening, the Liquor Control Commission did vote to award the license. That said, the motion for the Plan Commission did not have any conditions of approval attached to it. In the event that the special use was approved, staff went through similar applications and similar ordinances, and we wrote out some draft conditions of approval based on the pattern from the past. Those conditions are, number 1, hours of operation shall be consistent with liquor licensing. Number 2, the establishment shall provide signage indicating that entry is restricted to adults age 21 and over. Number 3, gaming shall be contingent upon approval of a Class NV liquor license and licensing by the state of Illinois. And number 4, an outdoor smoking area with a receptacle shall be designated prior to occupancy. With that, the petitioner is still here to answer any questions that you may have about the operation.
Thank you. Please come forward. Trustee Vogel.
This is for Mr. Jennings. We were given this. It's got a floor plan dated 8/24/18. Which floor plan did the Plan Commission review? The one in this booklet or the one that we received with our packet?
What you should have in your digital packet is the revised floor plan. It's dated January 4th, and that is what's referenced in the draft ordinance.
Okay, so there are only 5 seats. There's no place for a couch or anything else?
That's correct.
Because that shows 8. Okay, so it is 5 seats. Thank you.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
Oh. Are there any other questions? Trustee Vito.
Yeah, Jim, I'm just wondering on these conditions, I mean, is there any like statutory language or anything that says that staff can throw conditions in there when the Plan Commission doesn't, or does it matter? I guess it doesn't matter.
There's no prohibition to that whatsoever. The village board can take a recommendation of the Plan Commission and reject it, can adopt it as modified, can add conditions. So what staff is suggesting is that you consider these conditions. Ultimately, it's up to you as a board.
Right. All right, I was just asking.
No prohibition.
It's a little out of the ordinary, so I was just wondering if there's any.
I think for the sake of being thorough, it's probably a benefit to the board.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, thanks.
Sure.
Trustee Kruger.
Thank you. Hi. Can you guys tell me if you have another establishment like this
Yes.
anywhere in the state?
Yes. One opening in Oak Brook Terrace, Glendale Heights.
Not open yet?
The one, Oak Brook is not open. It's been approved to be open, though.
And Glendale Heights is open
Yes.
under the same name?
No.
Called?
Sabrina's.
And can you tell me a little bit about the design of your interior?
They're beautiful. I mean, it's hard to for the existing, for the new one?
For this
Wheeling?
one in Wheeling, yeah.
It will be nice. It's, I've been with Shell for 32 years, and, you know, we understand brand expectations. And, I mean, they're gonna have the nicest restrooms. They're gonna have the nicest hand dryers, you know, the Dysons. They're gonna be beautiful. They're not gonna, you know, somebody earlier commented, it's not gonna be some, I think you did.
It was me.
Right. It won't be that place. It will be the nicest place. And again, I could give you that all on paper if you want, what kind of hand dryers, what kind of toilets, what kind of sinks, touchless sinks,
No.
touchless toilets, you know, that's the way.
Pictures are worth 1,000 words.
Yeah, without a doubt, so I don't want to sit here and tell you, but You're asking me,
I know.
but you're right, so they will have everything brand new. The reason why they'll do better than some other ones, because, I understand what the expectations are of a gamer. Joe earlier said he likes craps, it's a different kind of gambler. There's expectations. I like to gamble, I know, so you have to be clean, you have to be neat, you want the place to be perfect, and it will be.
Fair
'Cause
enough.
they really won't work if they're not. I mean,
That's
it's
right.
competition like any other business.
Fair enough, thank you.
Trustee Papantos.
Thank you. How long has Sabrina's been open?
Yeah, 4 or 5 months.
Okay, and how long do you expect to, how long will it take you to open Kelly's?
If probably 4 months. Well, it all depends on the state. The state has to come, you have to get an occupancy license, you have to be built out. They come, they approve it, and then they put it on an agenda. And right now, there's 550 people waiting for new ones. So it might be a month, it might be 2 months after you have your occupancy.
Have you applied to the state at this point?
No, you can't.
So you have to have our license and
Yes.
approval before
Yes,
you
and
can?
then they'll come out. But the build-out's gonna take 2 months.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Trustee Lang.
Thanks. Just heads up on all this, you're giving us all the nice things that are going to be there. None of this stuff's in our packet. And so, at least unless I'm missing it. And so it's.
We don't have any.
Okay, so it's, we don't have it in our packet. And so we're taking your word for it.
Yeah, well, it's a build-out on there. It's obviously an empty box now. So all I could say is it has to be all new.
Well, it's going to be better than an empty box, for sure.
100%.
But there's nothing for us to go on. And just for the future, and anyone else, any other petitioners, wishing to present something like that, be detailed. Give us details. And if you're having nice things in there, that makes a world of difference. Because, as someone who's maybe on the fence about approving one of these or not, if it's pretty nice, I think you may change their mind.
I appreciate it.
So for the future, please. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Lang. If there are no other comments, need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Trustee Papantos, second Trustee Kruger. Roll call, please.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
No.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
B, Clerk Simpson.
Ready? 13B?
Yes, ma'am.
13B, ordinance granting special use approval for a sit-down restaurant at 419 West Dundee Road, Eggsperience, docket number 2019-2.
Mr. Jennings.
Thank you. This is the first of 2 special use ordinances up for your review and consideration in the F building of Wheeling Town Center. This is the building that is under construction right now just to the south of Burger King. The first of the 2 is Eggsperience. It would be located in the north half of the building. The next one is located in the south end. The Plan Commission reviewed and recommended approval of Eggsperience. It's a breakfast and lunch business. They have other locations in the area. They will be open from 6 to 3. They're projecting approximately 25 employees. They had, just as a heads up for the future, they do have an idea to come back for outdoor seating. It's something that the village has encouraged wherever possible. They are hoping to complete designs for outdoor seating and come back. It would be done under a separate application once they have all the supporting materials for it. With that, representative of the development team is here to answer any questions you might have. There are no conditions of approval in the draft ordinance.
Don't just sit back there all comfortable, like there's going to be questions. You can come up. You've been here. Trustee Papantos?
I just have questions because you came up, Brad. I didn't want to.
You always do, Mary. I look
Right.
forward to them.
Thank you. My two standard questions. One, timeline for opening?
For Experience?
Yes.
So Experience is under construction now. We hope to deliver this spring. One of the things that's holding us back are obviously winter conditions. So curbs, sidewalks, landscaping, really, we can't do that until April. But we will turn over the space to the tenant in the spring, and so long as they can get their interior build-out plans turned around quickly, they should be open up June, July.
Fantastic. And will they be coming, I know this, you probably can't answer this, coming back for a liquor license because I believe
No,
they
they
said.
do not. Just orange juice and coffee.
I swear at the Plan Commission, they mentioned that.
Meat and potatoes, the other one.
I
that
know
we'll
they
talk about.
definitely need one.
They do.
Right.
They just do beer and wine. So
Okay. Thank you.
no problem.
Any other questions from the board? No gaming machines?
Not at this location, no.
Excellent. I saw that. Need a motion from the board?
So moved.
That was a tie.
Yeah, but I gave it to Kruger last time, so I'm going to give it to trustee Lang as the motion and trustee Kruger as a second this time. You got to try and
That's
be
okay.
fair.
Okay, ready? Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee, President Horker?
Yes.
Sweet potato waffle.
C, meat and potatoes.
Okay, C?
Yes, ma'am.
Ordinance granting special use approval for a site sit-down restaurant at 403 West Dundee Road, Meat and Potato Eatery, docket number 2019-3.
I like it already, just from the name. Mr. Jennings?
Thank you. Meat and Potato Eatery would be at the south end of the same building from Experience. It would be north of the CMX Cinema on the main east-west roadway there. The Plan Commission reviewed the proposed eatery, which is more of a lunch and dinner. They're open 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Full-service restaurant with 12 employees projected on peak shift. The Plan Commission recommendation did have several conditions of approval. Two of those conditions of approval related to minor modifications to the plans that were made before it was forwarded for your review. So they have been removed from the ordinance. The plans are now updated to reflect those two items. One of those items was a revision of the floor plan to reduce the number of proposed gaming machines. There were 6 machines shown on an earlier version of the plan. That's been corrected. The second condition that was removed is the location of the entry door was noted to be slightly different than what was under construction. The development team and the petitioner both confirmed that the location would be corrected on the floor plan, and it later was. So the version that you have does match up with what is being constructed out there right now. The other condition of approval that was recommended is that prior to the installation or operation of any video gaming machines in this tenant space, petitioner must obtain a license from the Village Liquor Control Commission. With that, petitioner's representative is here and can answer any other questions that you have.
Trustee Papantos?
Thank you. Same June, July timeframe?
Same, yeah, pretty similar timeframe. This one's actually a little bit further along from a core and shell standpoint, just because we didn't have any conflicts with ComEd that were causing delays. But very similar timeframe, yes.
Great. And I did go online and look up their menu and sent a note that we should probably all invest in stretchy pants because it looks really good, but.
They do some funky things with their bowls, there's no doubt about
A
it.
lot of meat and a lot of potatoes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Trustee Lang, sorry.
Just a comment. The choices that you have over at the town center
Yeah.
are pretty good. I mean, pretty amazing that you've come up with some unique choices. These aren't places that are on every corner. And it just really adds overall, this is a compliment, by the way.
Thank you.
Adds overall to the town center. I mean, things are just a little bit different, a little bit nicer. and I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Ray.
It's all
Appreciate
coming
it.
together as what we had hoped to, or at least what I had hoped to.
I agree 100%. We're having a good time, and it's really great to see all the buildings finally get constructed, and the residential building and all the other retail, and yeah, we're keeping busy. So yeah, I think spring and summer are going to be really exciting. We'll have a lot of ribbon cuttings and grand openings and whatnot.
Every week.
Every week, sure.
Thank you.
How's the, not on the agenda, and just a question.
No problem.
How's the residential coming? I know you guys were under roof and you're enclosed. Is it?
Yeah, we're actually looking to get our certificate of occupancy next month. My general contractors set up a preliminary walkthrough with the fire department, which is going to start this week, just because it's a large building. There's a lot to review. And then starting next week, they'll start to have some additional walkthroughs to go over certificate of occupancy. The plan is to get an initial certificate of occupancy for the first 3 levels, which would allow property managers and leasing agents to occupy the ground level amenity area with the leasing office to bring potential tenants in. And then shortly thereafter, it would be followed by a certificate of occupancy for level 4, and then a couple weeks later, level 5.
Thank you. Unless anyone else has questions or comments, I need a motion for meat and potatoes.
So moved.
Motion, trustee Vogel.
Second?
Second, trustee Kruger. Roll call, please.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item D,
Yes, ma'am.
resolution authorizing change order number 1 and final to reduce the construction contract with Builders Paving LLC for the 2018 motor fuel tax street improvement program from $1,140,000, I didn't say that right, to $745,231.52.
Mr. Janik, the cost went down?
Cost went down. Thank you very much. In April of last year, the village board approved a contract with Builders Asphalt for road improvements, including MFT and general funds, for the amount as stated, approximately $1.14 million. We did a lot of improvements to the Tahoe subdivision, as well as in some industrial streets, including Marquardt, Peterson, Mesner, Larkin Drive, and then North Chaddock as well. We did have better conditions than we thought. We thought we were going to run into a lot of pozzolanic base. We did see some, but just in general, the streets were in better condition than we thought. So we're requesting that the board hopefully approve a reduction in the contract to $745,231.52.
Questions, trustee Vito?
What base was that that you were worried about running into? What was that word?
It's called pozzolanic base. Pozzolanic.
What is that?
Go ahead.
Approximately, probably starting 25 years ago, 20 years ago, there was a base material that was used. It was a crushed concrete, and the crushed concrete was to replace stone. And over time, what happens to this particular base is that it actually, when the cars and trucks run over the road, it actually, the weight slowly breaks down the base. And the pozzolanic base breaks down a lot quicker than the stone does. And so you'll have a roadway with this kind of base, and over a period of time, it will break down a lot quicker than with a roadway that has regular stone, colored virgin stone, but basic stone. And so the village had a lot of streets that had pozzolanic base. And so we've had, when we run into this, we have to set aside a good deal of money in case the pavement's not thick enough, or the base itself has to be reconstructed and totally taken out.
All right, thanks. Trustee Vogel?
I think you gotta quit watching the Jetsons or the Flintstones. Seriously.
I love the Jetsons. I like the Flintstones too, as a matter of fact.
Good job, Mark.
Any other cartoons or questions? Or okay. Need a motion to approve the reduction in the cost.
So moved, second.
Trustee Papantos can have the motion, and Trustee Vogel can have the second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes.
Item E, resolution authorizing change order number 1 and final to the construction contract with Builders Paving LLC for Phase 2 of the 2018 Street Improvement Program in the amount of $82,704.23.
Mr. Janik, you're up again.
Yeah, thank you. Once we realized that we were going to be low on the original Phase 1 contract, we immediately went into contract for a Phase 2 with Builders Asphalt. This change order involves that second phase of the road improvements this last year. Because we had Phase 2 and because we saved money from the first phase, there was a change order on this contract. This contract was more focused on Longtree as well as North Chaddock, and the $82,000 that's being discussed here relative to an increase in the contract was the village inspector and the engineering inspector, the engineering department, Public Works in general, adding additional curb and gutter work to the Longtree subdivision and Chaddock. Sometimes we go into these projects and we'll request, say, 25 or 30% of the curb to be replaced. When we run to a situation where we have extra money, we add more curb. We'll take more curb out and improve the roadways. So in this particular case, this wasn't a situation where the contractor charged us more. There was a mistake relative to, say, materials. This was the village Public Works engineering requesting additional work to be done to improve the subdivision. So we're requesting a change order. This is an increase in the contract.
So just for my understanding, this increase of $82,000 is basically off of the $394 that it was reduced on Phase 1.
That's correct.
There's a total savings of $312,204.25 between the two of them. So in case anyone got lost, this is all the same project, different phases. There was a change order on Phase 1 where we saved $394,000, almost $395,000. We were able to get a significant amount of additional work done. And yes, it looks like an addition, but in total, in aggregate, it's a savings of $312,204.25.
That could all change if we run into a lot of pozzolanic base out there. I'll just keep that in mind.
Joe's word of the week.
All right, Mark, I learned something new. I got to use it.
You explained that once before.
I don't know. Maybe I wasn't here.
Maybe.
All right.
Any questions or comments? Other comments, anyways. I need a motion for approval, then.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Vogel.
Second.
Trustee Krueger. Roll call, please.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes. Official communications. To my left. Yes?
Please.
Trustee Krueger.
Thank you. I just want to send good health and get well wishes to Trustee Brady. I love you, Ray, but I missed Ken, and I hope he comes back soon.
Thank you, Trustee Krueger. Trustee Papantos.
Thank you. Public Works, great job this weekend. We got hit with a lot of snow. I went out whatever the next day was, Saturday, just because I was bored. And I have to say, village streets were a lot easier to drive on than state and or county. I was dropping a book off at the library and really was questioning Schoenbeck. But, through my little subdivision, I had no problems. I don't know how the guys do it. I had neighbors complaining because they got tickets, and I kind of laughed at them and pointed to the sign that said, over 2 inches of snow, and asked them if they liked having their street plowed, and they all ran away. But they did a great job, and thank you, and hopefully we won't get hit again tomorrow night.
There are no other comments. I have a question for Director Huizer. I'm going to call on you cold. I didn't warn you about this. We are headed into some single digits later on into the week. It's going to be very cold. It's going to be very snowy. Is there a number people could call if they're in a situation where they need a warming station or where they're having an issue, even, just...
Yes, they can call the Human Services Department during regular business hours at 847-459-2606. If it is after business hours and it's an emergency, they should always call the police department. That's 911 or the non-emergency number. We do have a list of area warming centers and information on places where they can get some help.
Thank you. What was that phone number again?
847-459-2606.
Thank you, ma'am. I wanted to talk to you ahead of time, but I got distracted up here. Thank you. You have before you the bills that need to be approved for January 3rd through the 16th of 2019. I need a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Lang.
Second.
Trustee Vito. Roll call, please.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, we do have an executive session this evening for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of a specific employee or employees of the village and pending probable and/or imminent litigation. I need a motion to recess into executive session. Roll call, or motion, please.
So moved.
Trustee Krueger, second. Trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
President Horker?
Yes, we will recess into executive session at 7:37. This meeting is recessed. Thank you all for sharing your time with us.